Hello everyone, and welcome back to Crypto Bytes, where we discuss all things crypto, DeFi, airdrops, and more. My name is Brian, and now we're in episode 3 of our 10K to 50K challenge that we just started earlier this week. In this video, I still have a few more projects that I want to show you of, the 40 or 50 that I'm going to be focused on for this challenge. It's probably going to take one more video after this, but today we're going to be going through some of my major ones that I'm working on Solana on. And then in the next video, which should be the last of the overviews before we actually get into the numbers and everything, the next one will be more for my large DeFi plays that are going to take a little bit more time. So I wanted to save that for a separate video. So for today, we will mostly be focusing on Solana, one project on Sui, and also a Perp DEX as well. So yeah, let's jump right in since there's a lot to cover. Okay, so first one, pretty simple. This is Jupiter. They are probably the largest app on Solana, very much like Uniswap. They have perpetual DEX, they have swapping, they have pretty much everything that happens on chain probably gets routed through Jupiter in one way, shape, or form. So in addition to just basically doing all my swapping that I need to do on a daily basis through Jupiter, which, by the way, quick side note, if you are swapping on Solana, I recommend doing it through Jumper Exchange, which is jumper.exchange. They are a bridging and swapping protocol that doesn't have a token yet. And they route everything through Jupiter when you do your swaps on Solana. So you're kind of potentially getting a 2-in-1 possibility there. So, but anyways, getting back to Jupiter, the way Jupiter has a yearly airdrop that they do, and the way that you qualify for that is primarily, using their products. So swapping is everything that I do through them. But as far as like where I'm depositing my money with them, it's through the staking. So, I have I guess I'm not connected here. I think I have like 15,000 Jupe or so on staked here for this challenge. And what they do is, in addition to you getting an allocation on their yearly airdrop through staking, they also have quarterly ASR rewards, where they basically, based on different factors, like if you voted, they usually have a vote every couple weeks for stakeholders. So if you vote every single time, and then based on the period of time that you've staked for and how much you have staked, you'll get a percentage of the allocation. And at the current period, that's averaging out to like maybe 10% or so per quarter. So, call it 30-40% a year that you're making just on the staked Jupe. So yeah, I've been, ever since I got the first airdrop from Jupiter, I've pretty much kept everything that I have, not pretty much, I have kept everything that I've earned to be staked on there. Price has gone down pretty poorly over the last 6 months, dropped more than half. But so has the rest of the market. So, Jupiter is one of the, like I said, the largest application on Solana. So I do think that they're going to get a comeback at some point. So if you're not currently staking with Jupiter, one thing that you could do if you want to follow along with this is, any profits that you're making from the other apps that we're going to be talking about here, maybe just start buying, DCing into Jupiter, because I do think it's a good price at the moment, if that's something that you're interested in. And, you're going to be making, at the very least, 30-40% on your staked Jupe, just from the ASR rewards and airdrop each year. So that definitely helps with any price volatility. So that is the first one that I have a decent allocation to. This is probably 3 or 4% of my overall portfolio for this project that I have staked here. Next one is Huma Finance. So these guys had been around for a while, but they just kind of got massively popular recently because they just had season 0 of their first airdrop, where they did a TG launch, and they also had a Kaido program. So a lot of people were talking about them on Twitter. Anyways, basically Huma is a stablecoin kind of vault type of a situation where you have, the way that you can use it is basically deposit USDC in here, which gives you PST, which is their stablecoin, which earns 10.5% APY just by holding the PST. Now, if you want to lock it, and so, oh, by the way, so then they're currently running another season of airdrop right now. So the way that you earn points is by either minting this PST and just holding it. You earn 1 feather, which is a point per day per dollar that you hold it. And then if you lock it up, then you earn more feathers. But by doing that, that's in this maxi tab here. By locking it up, you are foregoing the APY. So you don't get the upfront APY, but you get more feathers. Personally, for me, I like not locking things up. So I like the upfront yield just because you never know what's going to happen with the airdrop. First airdrop was decent, but nothing amazing. So I'm opting to keep that upfront yield, which on 10.5% on stablecoins is decent. And then you're also getting the airdrop. And then further, what I'm doing is, where do we go here? So you can get multipliers for the airdrop. And so the main way that and you do that by either providing providing liquidity in the PST/USDC vault on Camino, which you earn maybe like 1 or 2% APY on that, nothing major, but that's on top of the 10.5%. So you're getting 12 or 13% APY for holding the PST, and they're giving a 5x feathers bonus for interacting with this. So that's quite nice as far as the airdrop's concerned. You can also do this Raidex strategy where I believe they're giving 2x feathers by depositing in here. And this pays if you're in well, I'll get to this in a second when we get to Raidex. And then lastly, which isn't live yet, is they're going to have the ability for you to like borrow USDC against PST, and then you could loop that. And then obviously you're going to earn feathers on the total amount deposited. So depending on how much you can loop, like what kind of leverage you can get on this, you can probably max this out to like 8 or 9x feathers just from looping it on Camino. And then you're also going to be qualifying for Camino's Season 4 airdrop that they just started too, which is not going to pay too much, but if it's something that is, Camino is a good product, and if they give you the ability to use it to earn other airdrops, and then you get a little bit extra from Camino, nothing wrong with that. We'll take it. So that is the different things that you can do on Huma. I'm mostly focused on this liquidity vault at the moment because it gives you the largest multiplier on your feathers and the highest upfront APY that you can get. In addition to that, I am staking the Huma I got from the original airdrop, which by doing that, you're also earning additional feathers too. So if you're not currently interacting with Huma and you want to get involved, right now actually the price of the token has fallen decently since the airdrop first started. So might be a good time to buy some and stake it and then get involved in the Camino vault if you want to like truly get engaged here and focus on the next airdrop. I believe is going to be done at the end of August. So you have a couple months, but not a lot of time. So that is Huma. Next, like I started to mention a moment ago, is Camino. So Camino is the largest lending and borrowing protocol on Solana. Like I said, they just started Season 4 of their airdrop. The way that you qualify for the airdrop is one, staking Camino. So what I earned from the previous airdrops, I took a little bit out and then I staked the rest of it, and that contributes as a multiplier towards other points that you're earning by using the protocol. And so the way that you can earn points on Camino, in addition to the staking, is basically lending and borrowing. So they have a bunch of different options here if you so desire. I know that some of these stablecoin markets are paying fairly decently at the moment. So if that's something that you're interested in, you can also, if you're interested in having SOL, I believe there's some options here where, if you deposit SOL, you're getting basically 10% on your deposit. And then you could go and borrow like Jupe Sol here as an example for 1%. So you're making like 8 or 9%, and if you loop that through, then you're effectively going to be making 40 or 50% on your original deposit amount from Sol. So that's something that you're interested in. That's an option here too. For me currently, I'm mostly just focused on the liquidity section, and that's both from this PST vault that I mentioned for Huma. So I'm deposited in here to get that airdrop. And then the other one that I've been involved with is this Frag BTC ZBTC. And this one is for the Fragmetric airdrop. So that's another protocol that I've talked about on previous videos. They are running an airdrop campaign right now. And yeah, I would imagine that probably it's going to end in the next month or so. So I've been using this so I can have more exposure to Bitcoin, and then also farm that airdrop. So, and then Camino as well at the same time. So these are the two, or this pool and then the PST pool are the two things I've been doing the most on Camino. But you have those options. You have other liquidity pools that you can get involved with. You have the lending and borrowing stuff too. So lots of options on Camino if you want to. But yeah, like I said, I don't think it makes sense to like just purely use Camino just to farm their season 4 airdrop. I would be using Camino if you're trying to farm other airdrops, or if you just want to like get that 40 or 50% APY return by looping the Sol or other strategies like that. Camino just is a great product overall. So, but if you're just doing it to get the airdrop, I don't think it's going to be worth it. It'll probably be, just a few $100 unless you're putting in like massive size, which I definitely am not. So anyways, yeah, that's Camino there. And then the other one that we've talked about before is Raidex. So with them, they are running their own airdrop campaign right now. And this basically acts as like a Pendle type product where you can either deposit into these different pools where you get leveraged points to go towards the airdrops of these different protocols, or you can forego those points and get just a fixed yield. So you can see on some of these for like Bitcoin here, you're getting 13% fixed yield plus farming the airdrop at the same time by depositing this. Or you can have a mixture of the two where that's in this liquidity section where you're basically getting the APY and then you're also getting, in this case for, I don't know what Yala is, this must be new, but in this case you're getting 6x Yala points and 5x Raidex points, or, ones that I've been involved with is like here's the Huma one, you get 2x feathers, 3x Raidex multiplier plus the APY. So, and then there's other ones, Perino we've talked about before on this channel, Fragmetric we just talked about before. And then Kairos also is another one that I'm farming using Raidex. So Raidex is great for both maximizing points and getting, probably about a 15 to 20% return on Sol or stables, depending on which ones you're going for. And then you're also farming their airdrop too at the same time. So that's, yeah, what I'm focused on here. And if you are going to focus on something and you don't have any exposure to Raidex yet, I'd say instead of putting it on Camino, maybe do it on Raidex instead. You'll get potentially a little bit lower upfront APY, but since Raidex doesn't even have a token, likely the airdrop's going to be better here than on the season 4 for Camino, since there's a lot of whales on Camino already, and they've already gone through 3 distributions so far. So yeah, Raidex is another play. Next one is Loopscale. So I've talked about them before too. Loopscale is, they basically have 2 things. You can either lend funds in these vaults, so primarily Solana, stablecoins are the main things that you can deposit, and you earn points. Loopscale has their own points program that they're going on right now, and okay yields. You're earning 10%. 5% on Sol, nothing massive there on the lending, so I don't really touch the lending portion. What I am more interested in though is the looping portion. So the way that this works is, in this example, so if I got this PT frag sol from Exponent, which is another protocol we've talked about in the past here, similar to Raidex. I don't use it as much as I use Raidex, but anyways, if you get this PT frag sol asset from Exponent, you can deposit it into this pool, and then you can borrow sol against it, and you can then loop that, let's see, up to 5 times. And so if you were to loop it up to 5 times, you're essentially going to be getting paid 41% APY on your Solana basically here, and then you're also, well, no, you're getting Loopscale points for that. In this example, you wouldn't be getting frag points because the PT asset, you don't earn any points on those. You only earn on the YT. So, yeah, I'm not using this one. The ones that I'm focused on for this is, let's see, got rid of those. Yeah, I was using Kairos on here, but they got rid of those assets for some reason. So the one that I'm focused on now is I use Loopscale as kind of like my hedging play when I'm not sure if Solana is going to be going up. And basically what I do is I go into this JLP short sol loop. And so what this is you're depositing JLP into the pool, and then you're borrowing sol to get more JLP, so, and you can leverage this up to 5x. I'll do this for about like 3 to 4x leverage, which can sustain like a 10 to 20% drop or actually increase in price on sol before you get liquidated. So you do have to keep in mind, what's going on for this, but it is a good hedge, and you're not fully just shorting sol, because by holding JLP is made up about 40% of sol. So you're kind of like doing like a half short on sol by doing this. And then as you're doing that, you're earning 67% APY from the leverage, and then you're also getting points on Loopscale while you're also, hedging yourself against sol potentially going down. You can also do the same with ETH or with Bitcoin as well, but typically if you want to hedge out of those 3 assets, sol is probably going to be the one going down the most at this point in the market cycle. So that's why I choose that one. I guess maybe you could do ETH, although ETH has been doing a little bit better than sol. But yeah, that's pretty much what I do here. Or like I said, you can also take advantage of some of these other airdrop possibilities, like this frag sol. You can get frag points and Loopscale points while looping to maximize points for both of those. So that's another option there. Last one on Solana for today is DeFi Tuna. So I've talked about them before. Awesome protocol. They already had a snapshot for their initial TGE. I don't know if they're going to have any subsequent snapshots for additional seasons. They haven't TGE'd yet, but are supposed to in July. So I assume that we'll find out more at that point in time. But as far as they're concerned, at this point, I just use them because I make good money with them. And so what I'm doing primarily is I'm just setting wide ranges on this Sol USDC pool. So let me show you an example of what I'm doing right now. Let's say if we put in $100, I go 4x long, and then I go full long on Solana. So what I'm doing basically is I'm borrowing for my 100, I'm borrowing 300 USDC. It's automatically swapping it to sol, and so I'm opening up a $400 sol position by doing this. And so then I go and I set my range, which currently I have the range set at 130 to 160. And 130, I have it set by that because I think 125 to 130, depending on how much lower the market goes at this point, I think that might be where the bottom is. So I'm leaving myself, I'm being a little bit aggressive, but not totally aggressive, because sol's gonna have to drop by more than 10% for it to get there, which, since it's already been dropping a decent amount, another 10% drop is gonna be quite nasty. Meanwhile, the 160, I have it a little bit tighter on the top end because since I'm full long, I'm going to not only be making money on yield, but I'm going to be making money on just the appreciation of being Forex long Solana. So I don't mind keeping that a little bit tighter so that I can earn more yield. And so by doing this, you can see here, I'm earning 1% on my deposit per day. 1% per day, so that's 365. Well, really more. There's more like 400% APY on this deposit. Plus, I'm Forex long on Sol, so if the price appreciates, I'm earning on that too. Plus, maybe there's going to be another airdrop on DeFi Tuna. So that's what I'm doing here. I've learned my lesson of I used to be a little bit more aggressive, and I would have to, put a stop limit on my orders. And with the market being as volatile as it has been, I've lost some money as of the last month or so. But by keeping this more of a wider range, 1% per day, can't cry about that. I was getting like 4 or 5% per day, but it's a little bit more risky, so that's why I chose to go wider. The other thing that I've done is they recently added this auto compounding feature, and basically what you can do is, like, as you're earning the yield, you can manually compound it if you want, but if you turn this auto compound on, you can either choose to keep the leverage. So if you just wanted to keep that 4x long on Sol, you can do that, or you can choose it to reduce leverage, which means, like here you can see with the position that we were talking about, I would get liquidated if the price went down to $128.09, just the way that it is set right now. But with this auto compounding reduced leverage, as yield is being earned, it's basically paying down the debt. So that $300 USDC that I borrowed to get my 400 long Sol position, it's using the yield to pay that down. So this, is going to gradually go down my liquidation threshold, which means, if I wanted to keep my position open, then I could keep it open for longer because, the liquidation amount is going to be going down. So it's just another safeguard that you can give for yourself if you're, at all worried that the price might end up hitting your area and you don't want to stop it out. So yeah, that's DeFi Tuna. Really love the product, like I said. Moving over to Sui, I believe. So Momentum. So Momentum is an up and coming DEX on Sui, and they're running an airdrop campaign currently. The ways that you can earn points there are by swapping or by providing liquidity. I swap here from time to time, but the main thing that I focus on is liquidity. And you can see here, some of these rates are freaking crazy. So for me, these are more of like some meme coin pairs. This Sui one is high, but you can see it has very low TVL. So if you were trying to deposit any kind of, more than like $1,000, then this amount's going to be going down quite quickly. So the one that I've been finding the most success with, if I can scroll down, is this deep USDC pool. You can see, not a lot of liquidity, but decent amount. And then it's making 600% APY. But for me, actually, I'm earning about 1100% APY on this currently because I have a tighter range than what the standard range is on this. The way that I'm choosing my ranges is I'm just going off of the weekly range, which actually right now we've broken that weekly range. So actually what I'm doing now, because I have a bias for the upside in the market, is I'm basically just taking the 1% to the downside as my min price, and then whatever the plus 5% to the upside is, I'm using that as my max price. And then every single day I'm just monitoring this position. The amount of fees when you're earning 1,000%, basically eliminates the vast majority of any impermanent loss that you might get from this. So I just, rebalance it as needed, and then keep the fees going. And then in the meantime, you're earning points for the airdrop too. So airdrop is great on this, but the main reason why I use it is because the fees are, amazing. You're earning 3% per day basically on, relatively decent pair here. So that is momentum. Next one is Kaido. So I might put together a video on the overall how Kaido works in the future, but for now, just for the sake of speed, basically it's a protocol where it measures your engagement on X, Twitter, and I believe they're going to be adding TikTok, Instagram, and maybe other protocols too. But for now, based on basically all these different protocols can partner with Kaido, and then Kaido basically notices your engagement on the social profile on these social platforms, and if you rank up in the leaderboards on these, then they're giving sometimes pretty substantial rewards for your engagement on those protocols. So we won't get into that now. What I'm mainly focused on is I'm just staking their token Kaido. It's paying 8% APR currently, which is nothing amazing, but the better thing with this is that by depositing your Kaido, you're opening yourself up for airdrops that all of these different protocols that partner with Kaido, are going to give. So not all of them give airdrops to stakers, but I'd say a good 30 or 40% of them do. And then also if you're staking and you're participating in a different engagement on Kaido, you'll earn more from these different engagement airdrops that they do as well. So for me, I like Kaido in that way, and there's a lot of momentum behind the team. So I also think that just price momentum is going to be decent as well. So I view it as a relatively stable, if not uptrending price product. I'm getting 8% on it, and then I'm also getting, exposing myself to the airdrops. So I like holding and staking Kaido, and I plan on continuing to add to my staked amount in it as I can. So that is Kaido. Last but not least, sorry, I know this video is probably pretty long, is, as I'm making some profits, I'm doing two things. So on perp dexes, which I have a whole video on how I farm those, which I'll link in the comment in the description for this one. But Ostium is one of the perp dexes that I'm farming, and I'm basically just I'm DCAing into silver, the commodity, and Bitcoin. And so I see those as kind of my two longer term holds over the next 6 months. And so I'm just kind of whatever the daily low is for each of those, I'm putting in, a couple $100 leverage position on them, and I'm just going to build it up, and we'll see how it goes. I think that there's more upside than downside in the short term and the medium long term too. And yeah, it's just basically another way that I'm allocating and going to be growing my portfolio, since we're in the 10,000 to 50,000 challenge. So I view these as a little bit safer than other things that I'm doing. And I'm also farming these different perp dex airdrops in the same time. So should get some airdrops from that as well. And yeah, I hope this has been helpful. One more video overview of the different airdrop protocols I'm using for this challenge. And then the video after that will actually get into the numbers and start tracking how I go. So hope the video series has been helpful so far, so that you can see where I'm actually putting my money and what my thoughts are as far as how I'm going to be using each of them to get from 10,000 to 50,000 by the end of this year. And yeah, hope you all are well, and until next time, happy farming.